Hello. It has been a little over 3 months now since my last podcast. I went through a whole trimester and I just did not have capacity, time to update, to record anything. And I've just started a new trimester. So hopefully I'll be able to do more throughout the trimester. But if I don't, then I don't. I am now referring to trimesters as traumatic trimesters. It was something that I was not prepared for. It took me a long time and it took a lot of work to adjust to semesters, to just adjust to university itself. But then having to move from semesters into trimesters it was in a sense like quite a leap, because everything was condensed into 10 weeks. It just was jam-packed and I felt like I was not digesting things as well as I could have. But I definitely feel a lot more confident now that it is trimester 2 and I managed to survive the first trimester. So I am very grateful. But I guess a little update from my last podcast. I was focusing a lot more on like self-care and working with my cycle, which I did continue throughout that trimester. And I think it worked really well for me. Of course, up and down, like it can be very hard to stay consistent with things, especially when you're studying and you get into those periods of time where you are, where it's very intense and you've got assessments due. And when you have 3 assessments, like written assessments, all due at once, it's a lot. But I have been playing around a little more with like my diet and just trying to find out like what works best for me. So I think I'm starting to familiarize myself with what is working best for me in this chapter season of my life. I would definitely say that I am currently mentally, physically, emotionally, probably in the best season, chapter, era of my life. Like over the past like week and a bit, I've really been reflecting on where I am right now, and I am incredibly, deeply grateful for the space that I am in at the moment. I feel like I've been waiting a really, really long time to get to this place. And I think I didn't even know that this was a place that I wanted to be in or that I needed to be in. And now that I find myself in it, I'm just really grateful. And I'm just filled with a lot of joy and a lot of gratitude for it. And this space is, the space that entails work, family, friendships, study, like everything that makes up the totality of what my life is, this human existence. So at the end of first trimester, I started 2 new job roles in 2 different organizations. It was a lot. I had a friend that said to me, "Are you sure that this is a good decision? Because like you're learning 2 lots of policies, like this is like on top of the study and everything." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure it will be fine." But it was a lot. It definitely was a lot. And I managed to get through a lot of that. I don't know how I managed to get through it, but I just accepted it and just did what I had to do, especially when it came to assessments and stuff. I was like, this is what I have capacity for. And if I'm starting an assessment just a few days as opposed to a few weeks before it's due, then that's what I'm doing. And I managed to overall finish the entire trimester with great grades. I'm feeling incredibly settled in my job roles at the moment, and very, very grateful that the spaces that I'm in at the moment, I just, I feel like I won the lotto in a sense, in the way that I really get to be able to engage in conversation with other social workers, with people who have been working in the field for years, and just I have such a thirst for knowledge, and I think like since I've been working in these job roles, it's really confirmed for me that I am doing the work that best aligns with my soul, with my purpose. Especially after years being away from society, I can see how needed that time was in order to be able to do this kind of work. I I just don't think I could have like finished school and gone straight into university and done social work. Like I think I really needed that time in like isolation to kind of like work on myself, sit with myself, and just work through a few things. And now I can kind of come back into the world, back into society, and do what I got to do. So current subjects that I am doing for this trimester are professional ethics, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander frameworks for practice, and also foundations of research. And I'm really looking forward to these subjects, especially ethics and values. I think that's, of course, very important in this field, and something that I guess I get to really reflect on, and it definitely has like a bit of a personal aspect to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander frameworks for practice, of course, is incredibly important and something that I'm looking forward to as well. And foundations of research. I do think maybe research might be something that I'd be interested in. I think it will be something that I will be interested in, perhaps not straight out of my degree, but later on down the track, I think definitely working in the field and seeing where there is gaps, and then potentially doing research later on. I think that will, be something that, and I love writing and I love doing the research, and it's something that does interest me. But in terms of would I do it as like becoming an academic, like finishing my degree and just becoming an academic? No, I want to be in the field, and then later on we'll see. Who knows? So the good thing about working in the industry and working two different jobs is it gives me a lot of exposure, and it helps solidify the content that I'm learning in uni. I find myself reflecting often on how the theory applies in practice, and I'm yet to do placement, but to be ahead already, I think is great for me. Social work is something that I am incredibly passionate about, and I appreciate the learning process, but also being able to think critically, always checking in on that critical reflection in what I do, what I see, what I read, is something that, you don't get that. In university, obviously, and that's why they do placement. So you can apply the theory and ask the questions and do all the things. But I think to be ahead and to have that opportunity prior to placement, I think definitely, I don't know, I guess it sets me up for ahead of time in a sense. Something that has definitely come to the forefront at the moment, I think is that one of my number one values is my internal peace. And this is something that is important for burnout. And it's knowing your boundaries. And I haven't quite found how to articulate this yet, but it's having boundaries and not allowing yourself to get too attached emotionally, and using theory and the understanding of the system and structures as a reason not to get too attached. It's as though it is what it is. I am one person. I can only do so much, and I have to learn how to let it go. I know I may not always be able to, But I think just being conscious of this goes a long way. And yeah, I think this is something that's probably like come up in like the last week or so. And I'm unsure how to articulate it properly. But I think over time, the more exposure I have, the more I'm doing things, I will better find the words to articulate it. But I mean, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, then let me know. So a lot of people have been asking me, like, how am I going with the balance of work and study? And I do feel, I spent I started my new positions at the end of the trimester, and I've had time to settle into them over the last few weeks whilst I've been on break. But I do feel that now that I'm a little bit more familiar with trimesters, I'm more familiar with my positions within the workplace, and like all of these things, I'm feeling a lot more settled. So I am hoping that I will have a bit more balance, or a bit more awareness of where I need to give and where I need to take from, in hopes that I am somewhat avoiding burnout, or as much burnout as possible. And I think especially when it comes to assessments and stuff, it's clear. I've proven to myself that I am capable of getting good grades, and that I'm definitely someone who is like, work smarter, not harder. And I have proven to myself that I am able and capable of doing this. So I really don't need to worry about it as much as what I potentially might. But it's always like you're going through it, and when you're in it, you're just not sure, because you never know what's going to happen. And then it's not until it's like in hindsight and you're like, oh, it's okay, I made it through, I survived it. But when you're going through it, you're definitely questioning all of the things. I am someone who likes to do 101 things, and I did start a few projects at the start of the year, but I'm also someone who starts a lot of projects and then does not finish them, does not complete them, or it just takes me a really, really long time to complete, or I come back to, or just, I don't know. So I've put a lot of them on the back burner at the moment, because focusing on my job roles at this current time and study is my main priority. And of course, avoiding burnout. So I don't want to have too much on my plate and be able to enjoy life and the simple pleasures of like going to the beach, going to the creek, fishing, whatever it may be. So I did want to share with you guys, I guess a little segment of this being, if I could tell first year me one thing, what would it be? And it would be keep showing up. The first part of university, the first leg of it, the first semester, the first trimester, whatever it is, the first part of it is by far the hardest. And especially if you are a mature age student and you haven't been studying for like quite some time, then it's going to be overwhelming. There's going to be a lot going on that you're like, I don't think I can do this. But it is really important that like when you're in that moment of it, that you just push through it, because on the other side of it, once you get through that first trimester or that first semester, and you are then, because everything's like in hindsight, like you don't know how well you're going to do until you get to the end. You can be going through it and be like, yeah, I think I've got this, I think I'm okay with it, but you don't really know until you're at the end of it. It's a weird thing. But you know, we are incredibly fortunate enough here in Australia to have the opportunity to have an education, in particular a higher education. And it's something that I think for me personally, I was like, I will never go to university. I didn't think it was something that I would do. But now that I'm here, I'm like, wow, it's really important for a lot of reasons. And I think that's like a whole other discussion, but I found deep importance in it. And I've found the importance in just, yeah, like that first year that I did, that first semester that I did was by far the hardest. And I really, the second point is to like really lean into your supports, whether that's friends, family, the university supports that you have. Lean into them as much as you can. Ask for help. Like, you don't have to do it alone. Like, there is so much support out there, because it's fucking hard. It really is hard. And if you don't have those supports, if you don't have community, like something that I've been doing, I think this year, is like trying to build like a community base for us social work students to like get together, go out, have a drink, have some food, or like whatever the activity may be. Just getting together and having those people that you can talk to, and people from like different year levels, different cohorts, is fuck. I just like, there is so much value in that. Like, I am having discussions with people who are in third and fourth years, and being able to hear, especially about like placement and stuff, just being able to hear so much about their experience, it helps prepare me. And I think it's something that perhaps maybe isn't done enough, and maybe in other disciplines it is, but yeah, it's something that I think holds incredible value. But not only that, like if you're working in a workplace where there's social workers, or there's people who are working within that industry and have been in there for many years, it's, you know, there's so much value there, and it is worth your time to go out and have those discussions and have those conversations with people and to ask them questions. You know, I would say that they would probably be more than happy to answer questions and to have conversations. Yeah, so open yourself up for it. And in saying that, I think also being like open and understanding that what you're doing, like this education, and opening yourself up to people and having these conversations with people outside of your little bubble of just studying, learning the content and doing the assessments. Like if you open yourself up, like it's going to change you, and it's going to change your thought process, and it's going to change your thoughts in general. And I think being open about that is really important as well. And I think if you are in this discipline, if you are becoming a social worker, it is important for you to be open, because you are going to encounter many people throughout your work who are going to have different values, different beliefs. So there's no better way to expose yourself to this than whilst you're studying, whilst you're working in the industry, whilst you're studying. Like, conversations, open yourself up, talk to different people. Like, I love it. Like, I have certain beliefs, I have certain values, but I am always open to what other people may think or believe, and open to hearing other people's stories. Like, they didn't just wake up one day and decided that this is what they believe, or that this is what they value. Like, it's come from somewhere. And I think one thing that I personally enjoy is being able to hear those stories from people, being able to hear where they've come from. Like, you can come to me and you could say, I like dogs. And I'm like, cool, great. But where's that come from? Like, personally, I like to know all of the things that have taken place up until then. And, it's context. Context is important. Anyway, that was my little ramble. So I think I'm going to close up with just a little reflection thing that I've got here. So I've been reflecting on why social work. I did not even know what social work was when I started. I'm still unsure how to describe it in a way that is impactful and meaningful, because I think that it could mean different things to different people. Those who are social workers and those who are recipients of the work of social workers, it can be very different. But I think personally, like, I've always struggled with pain, not only that I felt myself, but knowing the pain of others, pain inflicted on others. And I've been curious as to why I've had to feel certain pain and why people have to feel pain in a certain way. Like, I'm talking like mentally, emotionally. And I think for me, social work kind of helps me understand that. It helps me see a bigger picture. And I think it's why I chose to spend like a decade in remote Australia, on and off. And I just really struggled every time I tried to come back into society. Like, I struggled to be here. I liked being out bush and just away from it all. But I really needed time to just sit with myself, to be with myself and kind of, I don't know, I guess get to know myself on a different level that I wouldn't have been able to do if I was here in society looking and thinking and seeing all of these societal constructs that are around us. You can probably hear the curlews in the background. But during that time, I was able to build up a lot of tools, discover a lot of tools. And I feel like when I finally left and came back into society and started my degree, I had like a pretty packed tool bag of things that I had gathered. And I don't know if you've ever read that book, The Alchemist, but I guess it's kind of similar to that story in a sense. So I think doing my degree now, I think becoming a social worker, working the field, it teaches me that it's not about me, that it was never about me. Like, there's a lot of big structures, there's a lot of big systems in play, and I am one person and I cannot dismantle it all, but I can create a ripple. I can at least create one ripple, and if that's all that I do all my life, then so be it. And I think it's just been finding comfort and being okay with just a small ripple. I don't have to change the whole world. I don't have to do anything big or drastic. I just have to create one small ripple, and I think that's enough. And I think the more that I learn as well, like, the less blame I am putting on people, because I can understand, like, I'm such a dot connector and I connect all of the dots, and it's like, it is what it is. And yeah, anyway. But I would love to know, how are you feeling? How are you doing? What's been going on? I don't know what. I really think I would like to try, and I'm going to try and do a second podcast sooner rather than later. And I'm also, I think I'm kind of in the works of like having conversations with people to collaborate on a podcast as well, rather than me just talking, because I love having conversations and I think people's stories and what people have to say means a lot, and there's so much value in conversation and in storytelling. So yeah, if you would like to share any of your thoughts or send me a message, I do love to connect with people. I love the fact that I actually have a lot of DMs and an inbox that over years that I have been connecting with people just through being open and just sharing things online. Like, I don't have like a massive large following or anything, but I do have a lot of valuable and I do have a lot of value within my DMs. I have a lot of great connections and yeah. Anyway, okay. And I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing good. I've just literally just set up a whole new little study nook here, so I'm hoping I will be able to organize this lighting a little better and the setup and stuff. But anyway, big love to you all. Thanks for listening.